Hello friends, welcome back to Random Hearts and welcome to the backyard. We are going to take a garden tour today. I realized looking back on our videos that we have never taken a garden tour in the month of June, and there may be a reason. Now we have an elm tree in our yard and several of our neighbors also have elm trees. They are not the nicest trees. During the month of June, they are dropping their seed pods. And once those seed pods hit the ground and get some moisture on them, my neighbor calls it the oatmeal season because they definitely resemble oatmeal. We have had lots of issues this year with that because the trees not only have had a lot of seed pods, but we've also had rain almost every single day in the month of June. We've also had very cool temperatures, and so things have not progressed very much in the yard this year. We also will be pulling a ton of little sprouts from those elm trees because I've already got them coming up in my garden beds. So please, as we do this tour today, ignore the green sprouts coming up everywhere and the mushy oatmeal that is laying all over the ground. Let's get started with this tour. Since we are talking about our elm tree right now, I figured we'd start right in this area. You can see we have taken off some limbs this year. We decided that they were too low hanging and we did take them off. We've got a couple branches that we took off there. I've got some plants up here that are waiting to be planted, probably within the next couple of days. We needed some breathing room for this plum, so that is why we did take some of those branches out. But you'll see everything is doing quite well over in this area. Baby's breath is doing well. I've got some impatiens over here that are blooming, some lobelia. Just about ready to have that salvia start blooming. We've got a new Jacob's ladder right here. Just looking pretty good. This Jacob's ladder is blooming and on the downward side of it. And then some more salvia. This is the purple salvia. And it is already starting to bloom on the front. The back side's a little less progressed because it's in the shade more. And pretty much everything came back. I did mention in I think the last video that we did not have signs of the Brunnera coming up, but they are coming up. I've actually got one that's doing very well, one that didn't do quite as well. These are doing great. I've got a spiry in the back. I did trim up some of my barberries this year. Still not sure if these arborvitae are going to do well here. They do seem to be struggling a little. Our hydrangeas, I just put in a lamb's ear there. We've actually got blooms on our red twig dogwood. Dianthus is just starting to bloom. The Penstemon is very close to blooming. And that Russian sage, I did not move it this year, but last year I did realize it was kind of not located very well because it is so large. Our petunias are doing good over here. You'll see I've got some edibles in this flower bed. I've got 3 of my green cabbage over here, along with some of those marigolds they started from seed. All of our salvia in the back that is starting to bloom, and then our lilac in the far back that has just about done, it's just about done blooming. I've got 3 red cabbage over here along with those lemon gem marigolds, and they're just starting to bloom. I actually love the cabbage in this bed, especially this purple. Sunlight is hitting everything beautifully right now, so it looks great. We did take off some branches on this maple tree this year, so we will be shaping that up a little. But that's everything in this section. Let's move on to the shed area. We've got a couple of planters over here that are planted up. I might put on the screen what is in each of these pots. These are all on drip, so they get watered twice a day, which might be a little bit too much, but they are hooked to the garden. This is an identical pot to what is under the patio. It's doing very well up here. In fact, I think it's doing better than the one that's under the patio. You'll see that in a minute. And like I said, I'll put the recipes for these up on the screen if I know what goes into each pot. But that's what this is looking like over here. You can see my garden is doing pretty well as well. This is the bed that's under the other maple tree in my neighboring yard. This one is the one that causes us quite a bit of trouble for our garden. I have our cabbage in this bed along with some lettuce. I've also got some kale in here, some carrots, and 2 different types of beets. You'll see I've got oatmeal in this bed. That's what all those white things are. And all the little tiny green things are elm seeds. So I've already cleaned this bed out once, but I will be at it again here soon. We're going to move over to the strawberry bed. I did get some new strawberries this year. I found some Buried Treasure Red. Now, I do have Buried Treasure White in this side of the bed. And when I found the Buried Treasure Red, I thought, oh, I'm going to try them. So we don't have any strawberries yet, but they are looking very good. We also have quite a lot of chives going here. They're actually blooming. And basil did get nipped a couple nights ago. You can see it's struggling just a little bit. We did get some temperatures that were in the upper 30s, and some of our plants just did not like it. Got tomatoes in this bed. These are the sweetie tomatoes, and I believe they're dealing with something. They've got a little bit of yellowing going on. But like I said, we've also had some cool temperatures. Tomatoes do not like cool temperatures. You'll see these planters hanging baskets are doing very well. They are not on drip. We decided not to put them on drip. So I am watering them every single day by hand. This bed right here, you saw us put our pea trellis in, and it is doing fantastic. We've got all these radishes up front here. Our 2 sets of kale right here, we've harvested off of that quite a lot already. And look at those peas. Lots and lots of peas coming. I've also got beans and spinach in this bed. All are doing very well. I did have a few in this variety right here that did not germinate. But I told you when I was planting those were old seed, and I wasn't sure how well they were going to do. This one has a menagerie of tomatoes in it. I think I have 4 different varieties or 3 different varieties of tomatoes in this bed, along with a bunch of marigolds, some green peppers, and a jalapeno pepper down here on this end. We also have some more green beans right here. These are jade beans, and that is what is happening in this bed. And of course, nothing's really progressed too much in here because these are all warm season crops, and we have not been very warm for them. As I move into this next bed, you're going to see the garlic has exploded. It is ginormous. There are very little amounts of sunlight down here for these onions that I planted in between, but to be honest, I think they are doing better than some of the onions down here in this section. These onions seem to be struggling a bit. I do have carrots on both sides of the onion bed, 2 different varieties, and they are starting to come up and do very well. We just need a little bit of warmer temperatures, and that's the garden area. Let's move on to some of the other areas in the yard. This right here is a sad attempt at what we've been doing with our fire pit area. My husband is pretty frustrated by this. We have purchased a bunch of these pavers over different time frames, and they are all different colors. He actually has some red ones that we had from one of the first initial pickups that we made, and even though they are made by the same company, they are supposed to be the same color and dye lot. They are not. So he has taken this up. He did have it all laid out over here, but he wants to kind of intermix these pavers a little better so it looks like it was intentional, because it was pretty jarringly obvious that they were different color and they were from different sections placed down at different times. I did decide to put in some more perennials over in this bed. I've got a couple of Nepeta in here and an echinacea. I've also planted some sunflowers in this area. We have some pro-cut sunflowers. Those are the very tall ones. And then I've also got some branching ones right here in the middle. That way we can still see our sign, which I do think I'm going to have to redo that. It is starting to weather pretty roughly. But right here I've got some more of my marigolds. These are the Sophias, Queen Sophias that I planted from seed. They are beautiful. And then all of this is zinnias, everything I planted from seed. They're doing pretty well. We're happy with them. Like I said, though, these are some of the plants that were a little bit susceptible to our cooler temperatures. So they have struggled a little bit. I've also got a zucchini right here, but I do need to change up our watering a little bit in this area. We are needing some lines that go across in this bed. But this is a work in progress section. Hopefully we will have this done by the next garden tour in July. This section right here of grass is our dog's area. This is where she uses the bathroom. We do try to keep that clean because as it is going to be right next to the fire pit, we do not want the smell. As we move on, we've got her ramp that she uses to get up into that area. And this flower bed right here is looking pretty good. We've got quite a few things in it that were not in there last year. I think this one was in the garden last year in this bed, but it had not bloomed yet, and it is a deep dark purple. I'm very happy that's the color. We've got some more of those lemon gem marigolds right along here. Those are not blooming yet, but they are getting very close. I've got a few of those snowland daisies right here. I've also got a gaillardia or a blanket flower that is just getting ready to pop out of the ground. I am getting a little bit of my own shadow here, but we'll try to stay out of it. I think it is time to divide my Stella d'Oro daylilies. They are not blooming very profusely this year. My sedum is doing well. I also found some Dusty Millers again this year. Those were tricky to come across, but I do like them in that space. I have some Iceland poppies back here blooming, and I did remove all of my daisies, my Shasta daisy. I have 3 brand new Shasta daisies in this bed. We'll see how they do. They are a little different structure than my last ones. I've got a few of those daylilies coming up. Also got some irises in there that are blooming. We have a lot of purple in this bed right now, but that will not be the case here in about a month. So I wanted to show you, this is what those planters are looking like right now. They look really good, but I think they're getting a little more sun than I'd like. Some of these plants are not real fond of sun, especially like the coleus, the lobelia. They would prefer a little bit cooler temperatures and a little less sun. Everything else is doing well though, but that's what everything's looking like over in this area. Let's head over to the patio. We are still in the process of working on that fire pit area, so we've got Adirondack chairs in all sorts of weird places right now. But I did want to show you what I was doing over here. These are waiting to go to a friend's house. In fact, I was hoping she'd pick them up today, but I don't know if she will. I've got my grow bags over here underneath this cantilever, and they are doing very well. These were all extras. I do have a video putting these together, and I might put that in right here so that you can see how I put them together. I planted these grow bags up about 2 weeks ago. It was not a very nice day the day I was planting this. In fact, my husband had to help with an umbrella to protect the camera equipment. I am putting into these grow bags basically the same things in each one. I had a lot of leftovers from seed starting, and I picked
the best of the best. In fact, I've got 2 of those sweetie tomatoes in the center of these grow bags, and they are doing better than the ones that are over in the garden bed. So I'm hopeful that this will all work out. Each of these bags has basil in it, marigolds, lettuce, and peppers. One of them has a jalapeno in it. The other one has a regular pepper. Then there is kale in one and cabbage in the other. And I'm hoping, because these are fairly complementary plants, that they will do well in these bags. My only concern is that there is not enough space for all the roots, and that they're a little bit shaded on this patio. We'll see in the end how they do.
But I did decide not to grow potatoes in these. I did not feel like the potatoes did very well last year, and they were not worth the time and effort. So I've got extras of my hot peppers. I've got extras of tomatoes here. 2 more of the sweetie potato or tomatoes here. Those are the same ones that are in the bed over on the other side that are not doing very well. These are doing great. Again, I also have all of my herbs underneath the apple tree. They've done very well there for the last 2 years, so why stop a good thing? So I have some rosemary, some dill, some oregano, some lemon thyme, and some regular curly leaf parsley. I have started adding some perennials to this bed. I do have a couple in here that I've added. That is a spirea. These are echinacea along here, and yes, they are in the shade for some of the day. They are not in the afternoon. So we are early morning right now, and they are being shaded right now. I cannot remember what this one is, but if I can remember, I will put it on the screen. And that is everything in this bed. Let's look at how the wagon has turned out. Just looking fabulous. I love the daisies and the salvia in here. Just looking great. As we move on, you'll see that I did separate some of my daisies out. These are some of the daisies that came from the bed that's over on the other side. I did salvage a couple of them, spread them out. We'll see if they do anything. More of the marigolds that I planted from seed. And then I split some of my dianthus and put it over here as well. So that is everything in this bed. It is starting to look pretty good. I do have a few things I still need to plant out, but that's pretty much it. We've got a couple of tomatoes here on the edge of the deck stairs, just like we did last year. They did well there, so I thought I would just keep with that. And as we move into this bed, again, similar thing with my Stella d'Oro dailies. I do think I need to be splitting those. They are very slow to do anything this year, and a lot of their blooms are very low on the plant. I've got a whole bunch of those snowland daisies in here, along with some dianthus, some more of my marigolds, and I did bring over one of the Shasta daisies that was still viable. It's back here tucked in the corner. We'll see if it does anything. And I've got some salvia back there, some dianthus that's blooming, and that's pretty much it for this bed as well. Not much has changed in here. I just need to do a little bit of maintenance to keep those perennials blooming. This might not be the best time of day to look at this planter. I may get some shots later in the evening when the sun is not so bright on them. But this is probably one of my favorite combinations for this window box. I've got, I'll put it on the screen what we've got in this one, but I love the Gara in the middle. And along with those daisies, oh my goodness, this is a perfect color combination. I love everything about it. And I hope that I can keep up with this planter. We are struggling with it. It does seem to be aging pretty badly, and we've got some cracks in it. We almost didn't use it this year, but this is beautiful. I love the color combinations here. As I end this video, I want to focus on this little area right here. This is our aspen tree, not one of my favorite trees. It does leave a lot of little trees in the lawn, but it provides quite a bit of shade as well. This area right here, we have that new Potentilla. It is actually starting to bloom. I'm super happy with that. Doing very well. So are these 2 barberries, but as you will see, the barberry right here struggled. It is about half the size of this one. They were planted at the same time, and I had to cut out about half of it this year because it was dead. And I don't know if that was just our weather this spring or if it's just struggling because it's getting older. But that is everything for this garden tour this year. Well, at least for this month. We have never done a tour in June, and I hope that the oatmeal on the ground hasn't dissuaded you or made it difficult to watch. But this is everything for us today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section. We love to hear from you. We hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.